There is a quiet heaviness that lives in every human heart, a weight we often carry without realizing. It is the weight of desire, not just the innocent longing for food when we are hungry, or warmth when we are cold, but the restless hunger of the soul that always wants more, more, and more. We chase after it with trembling hands, wealth, recognition, love, power, the fleeting moments of pleasure. And yet, the more we clutch at them, the more they slip through our fingers like water. Desire itself is not evil. It is the flame that has driven humanity, to build cities, to create art, to reach the stars. But when that flame grows wild and uncontrolled, it consumes us. It blinds us, making us forget that what we seek outside is often nothing, compared to the stillness we neglect within. A Stoic would remind us it is not what we desire that burdens us most, but our attachment to it. Seneca once wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself. For the man who cannot govern his desires will forever be a servant to them." Tonight, let us walk slowly through this theme. Let us sit with the weight of desire, not to condemn it, but to understand it, to ask why it presses so heavily upon our hearts and how we might learn to carry it lightly, or perhaps to set it down entirely. Because life is not meant to be lived in endless pursuit, but in quiet balance. The flame of desire must be kept. Yes, but tended like a small, steady fire, warming us without ever burning us to ashes. Desire grows quietly at first, almost like a whisper within the heart. It tells us, if only you had this, you would be complete. If only you touched that, your hunger would be satisfied. At the beginning, it feels harmless, even inspiring. For desire gives us a reason to move, to strive, to reach. But slowly, without notice, it can turn from a gentle breeze into a storm that shakes the soul. The Stoics warned us of this transformation. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." How true those words are. For a man with desire unmeasured will always thirst, even while drinking from a river. The more he consumes, the more hollow he becomes. The weight of desire lies not in what we want, but in what we believe we cannot live without. When we attach our peace to possessions, to recognition, or even to another person, we give away our freedom. We begin to chain ourselves link by link until our spirit no longer moves with ease. Desire then becomes a master and we its servant. Yet, not all desire is poison. The Stoics also knew that certain desires are aligned with reason. The desire to live with virtue, the desire to act with justice, the desire to grow in wisdom. These are not chains, but wings. They lift the soul upward, away from chaos toward clarity. Still, most of our daily longings are not of this kind. They come from impatience, comparison, or illusion. We see someone celebrated and we desire the same applause. We see someone rich and we desire the same gold. We see someone loved and we desire the same embrace. But we forget that their path is not ours, their measure not meant to fit our lives. And so we carry unnecessary weight, burdens that never belonged to us. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes the color of your thoughts. If the mind is filled with restless craving, the soul darkens. But if it is guided by reason, it shines, no matter what is gained or lost." The weight of desire, then, is not found in the objects themselves, but in how tightly we grip them. Imagine holding sand in your palm. Hold it gently and it rests there peacefully. Clutch it too tightly, and it slips away, leaving your hand empty and wounded. So it is with desire. Hold too fiercely and life itself will escape you. The Stoics understood desire not as something inherently evil, but as something dangerous when it takes the reins of the soul. For them, the true weight of desire lies in the way it enslaves us, tying our happiness to what we do not control, to what is fleeting, to what can be lost in a moment. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." Desire, in its untamed form, makes us prisoners of shadows. Things we imagine will complete us, but in truth only bind us tighter. So, how do the Stoics teach us to set this burden down? They offer us the practice of discernment. Marcus Aurelius reminds us again and again, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Similarly, if the desire does not serve virtue, it is not worth carrying. This is not a call to repress every longing, but to hold it up to the light of reason. Does this desire lead me closer? To courage, to justice, to self-control, to wisdom? If not, then it is a chain I can learn to unfasten. Seneca described desire as a kind of fever. When we are sick with it, everything feels unbearable until we obtain what we want. But once it is in our hands, the fever often returns with a new target. The only cure is not the satisfaction of desire, but its transformation. The Stoic does not kill passion, but redirects it, away from external possessions, away from fleeting pleasures and toward the pursuit of excellence in character. Imagine carrying a heavy sack filled with stones. At first you may think those stones are precious, symbols of wealth, recognition, or pleasure. But with every step, the weight bends your back and slows your journey. The Stoic realization is this: the stones were never gold. They were never necessary. They were illusions of need. And the moment you choose to drop them, you discover the lightness of freedom. To set down desire is not to renounce life, it is to embrace it more fully. For when you no longer cling to what is outside your control, you awaken to the quiet joy of what you already possess, your breath, your reason, your freedom to act with virtue in this very moment. That is the soil in which true peace grows. The Stoics did not merely talk about desire as an abstract problem, they built daily practices to confront it directly. 3 of their most powerful tools were negative visualization, voluntary discomfort, and the remembrance of mortality. Negative visualization, premeditatio malorum, was the art of imagining loss before it happened. A Stoic might close his eyes and picture his wealth gone, his home taken, his loved ones absent, even his own death. This was not pessimism, but preparation. By rehearsing loss, they reduced the shock of it and trained their hearts to be grateful for what they still held. Desire loses much of its grip when we learn to see every possession as already borrowed, already fragile. Voluntary discomfort was the discipline of stepping into hardship willingly. Seneca would sleep on the ground, eat the simplest food, wear rough clothing, and ask himself, is this what I feared? In doing so, he discovered that comfort is an illusion, and that one can live well with little. Desire weakens when we prove to ourselves that what we think we need is often unnecessary. Remembering mortality, memento mori, was perhaps the sharpest sword. Marcus Aurelius wrote often to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." To remember death is to strip desire of its false urgency. The pleasure we chase, the honors we grasp, the wealth we cling to, all dissolve in the face of the grave. But instead of despair, this memory awakens us to what truly matters: virtue, presence, and the inner freedom no death can touch. Together, these exercises were not about rejecting life, but about freeing oneself from being enslaved by it. To practice them is to rehearse the art of letting go, so that when desire whispers, we can hear it without obeying it. The Stoics were not philosophers only in words, but in practice. They understood that desire is not something you can silence merely by thinking. The body has its own impulses, the mind has its own cravings. If you want freedom, you must train. Just as an athlete trains their muscles daily, the Stoic trained the soul. One of their most powerful exercises was premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. Each morning or evening, they would imagine losing what they loved most: health, possessions, status, even the people dearest to them. Not to invite despair, but to prepare the mind for life as it is: fragile, uncertain, never fully under our control. By picturing the worst, they softened the grip of desire, for if you have already rehearsed loss, you cannot be broken by it. Another exercise was voluntary discomfort. Seneca, though rich, would wear coarse clothing, eat the simplest food, sleep on the ground. He would ask himself, is this what I feared? By lowering himself to what others call hardship, he discovered freedom. Comfort makes us weak because it binds us to craving. When you learn to endure cold, hunger, or fatigue, you realize that very little is truly necessary, and once you see how little you need, desire loses its chains around you. The most profound practice of all was remembering mortality. Memento mori, remember that you must die. Marcus Aurelius, ruler of the world, wrote in his journal that every action should be done as if it were the last. To recall death is not to live in fear, but to live awake. It is the sharpest tool for cutting away trivial desires. If life is short, why chase the applause of strangers? Why cling to luxuries that rot? Why waste yourself on pleasures that fade by morning? When you carry death in your pocket, desire bows before you. These exercises are not meant to make you joyless. They are meant to free you, to stand in the world with open hands, to taste what is given without being enslaved by it, to lose without collapse. This is the art of release. Don't forget to subscribe and join this journey of wisdom and reflection. Hit the bell icon so you never miss the next voice of calm and clarity. Your support keeps this space alive. And together, we'll keep learning, growing, and staying strong.